Welcome back to the channel. In the last video with the Mini, I got the car running and it was very surprising because it had sat for a very long time, and really all I had to do was put a coil on it, clean some things, and put fuel to it, and she fired right up. So what I've already done was I pulled the fiberglass front end off of here, and someone actually mentioned that this car has been de-seamed, and I was wondering what these welds were on the inside. But now I know there's a seam that's supposed to run all the way down here, and it just kind of makes me have this thoughts of not keeping it stock. So my original plan, until I found that out, was to just fix this engine, or just pretty much refresh this engine 100%, refresh the transmission, check the clutch, and just kind of go through everything, make sure it was good to go, throw the engine back in here, and then just have fun and drive it. But now that I know it's de-seamed and the body has pretty heavily been modified, I'm not sure. But what I'm going to do today is actually pull this engine, transmission out of the car. All I really need to do now is remove the axle nuts and then just lift it out. Pretty sure I could, if I had another person, I probably could lift it by myself, or lift it with two people, because that thing's probably not that heavy. But I really need to get the axles out of here. So what I'm going to do first, pull the axle. I need to pull this wheel because all I have is a crescent wrench. Get the axle nuts off, pull the axles out, and then figure out how I'm going to lift the engine out. And then we're going to pretty much disassemble it, get it ready for a refresh. What I want to do is all of this stuff that's really grimy is repowder coat it, put new seals in it, put new freeze plugs in it, get everything just 100% back to looking really, really nice. I mean, it just looks really grimy. It's obvious that it's been sitting for a very long time.
Drop, hit the ground. You got that there. Did you shut that door? Okay, well, hold on. Spot. Tell me when you're ready. Okay. Oh, hold on. Go up, up. There you go. So just hold it. I got it. Sure. Yes. I'm sure. I've done this a long time. Okay, so now lift it up so it doesn't scoot down. Where's it gonna go? It's to the front.
Me and my dad just finished removing the engine from the Mini Cooper. He helped me lift it out, which it was very easy. I used one of the ramps, set it up there, slid it to the front of the trailer, made it very, very easy. But what I'm doing with this is I'm not exactly sure the condition of it. I mean, it runs, it sounds okay. It had water in it, so I'm guessing it needs resealed. I need to make sure all the freeze plugs are okay. I'll throw a brand new set of freeze plugs in it and just kind of freshen it up, make sure everything's good, make sure the cylinders aren't scored. You know, the head looks like it's new, recoat everything, powder coat a bunch of stuff to make it shiny, make sure the bearings are okay, just go through it. And if I end up using it, I'm going to throw it back in the Mini after I powder coat the subframe. If I don't end up using it, I'll probably have a good engine to sell with a transmission that's completely refreshed and looking really good. But I'm not exactly sure yet. I have been in this weird spot. So somebody commented and they said that the car has been de-seamed. I looked at a bunch of pictures on Google. I was like, well, yeah, the body has been modified. So if it's already been modified, why not modify it just a little bit more and throw a K-Series in here? I really entertaining the idea of an all-wheel drive K-Series in this thing. It'd be insane. 500 horsepower one of these things, all-wheel drive, would just be so crazy. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do. Get it torn down and see what we're working with, and then in the next couple of videos I can clean it up and then reseal it and just kind of go from there. But I'm just really glad that it's out of the car. Ended up bringing the Mini Cooper bottom end, the oil pan slash transmission, the rear transmission case, camshaft, and just some other stuff. So what I'm planning on doing with this thing, the bearings actually looked pretty decent. I'm probably going to end up polishing the crankshaft. This one has a few little score marks in the bearings. You know, they kind of looked a little iffy, so I'll put new bearings in it, but I'm pretty much going to just go through everything. When I did take this apart, it had the head, it looked like, you know, like I said before, it had water inside of it instead of coolant, and it looks like it previously froze. So I'm going to actually have this block magnafluxed as well as the head, just to make sure that there aren't any cracks, anything like that. Now the freeze plugs popped out. Somebody said in the comments that freeze plugs are there to pretty much relieve pressure and pop out when you know, coolant or water freezes. That's actually not what they're meant for. They're actually just casting plugs, and sometimes they pop out, sometimes they don't. But pretty much what I'm going to do is just refresh everything, clean it up, make sure it looks 100% brand new. And also the oil pan and the transmission, I'm going to take this all the way down, refresh it, make sure everything is good there. It's just kind of weird that this sump is the transmission oil as well, slash the engine. So you can see that it's all kind of cokey in there, and that kind of makes sense because if you think about when you're driving, the engine is moving the car and the transmission, and it's also the center diff oil, so it's just really most likely getting really hot when you're driving. This oil pan has the fins on it. The other oil pan that was in the car just is a like a stamped steel one, so I'm not exactly sure what the difference is. The casting marks on the block, this is an 850cc, the head's an 850cc, so it's a 8H or something like that on the VIN. I can't actually remember what it was classified, but yeah, it's 850cc. Just completely refresh this thing, get it 100%, but I'll just do it in series. So the first thing I'm going to do after this episode is pretty much just do the oil pan. I want to powder coat the outside of it. I have this nice silver, so it'll be really nice shiny gloss silver. The one bad thing about raw aluminum is it gets corroded, it gets faded, oil stains it and stuff like that. Once it is powder coated, it'll just look 100%, you know, good to go. On the block and the head, I'm most likely going to just do the normal olive drab gloss green. I'll probably just use a you know, spray paint, or actually like a paint with a hardener in it, just to get the block and the head coated. And then instead of getting a bunch of seals for this, I'll get a front and rear main seal, head gasket, new head studs, and then I'll just use some anaerobic sealant, and I think they'll seal it up a lot better than how it is previously sealed with all these paper gaskets, because they seem like they just seem like they leak a lot, and there's just a lot of unknowns to it. So instead of just ordering the whole kit, I could get, I think a head gasket's like $15, and the front and main seals are like $15, and then I'll have to get a new set of bearings, which those aren't very expensive. The clutch actually looked like it was not very good. It had this one spot where the pressure plate, or not the pressure plate, but the clutch disc actually had a crack in it. So I'll get a new clutch disc and pretty much all that stuff, just to make sure once all that stuff goes back together that it's, you know, that I really don't have to worry about it. Then I'll have to figure out if I'm going to case swap this thing or not, but I want to drive it around with this engine in it for a little bit, just to kind of get the feel for it, see if I like it this way, or if, you know, if I want to throw a bunch of power in it and make it a super crazy, you know, Mini Cooper. So, or Mini, Austin Mini, whatever I call it a Mini Cooper, even though it's not a Cooper. But that being said, that's the end of this video. If you like these videos, make sure you click the subscribe button, thumbs up, throw a comment below. As always, see you guys next time.